Let's get to our next guest. He comes by way of thefourthperiod.com as well as the magazine. You can check him out on twitter.com/thefourthperiod. He's live in Phoenix, Arizona, either working on his tan, taking in some Cactus spring training, or couldn't he actually be at a Coyotes game, could it?
My third one today. I mean, this trip. Third one today.
Wow. So, so how are those Yotes?
They will be good. Just now it's a little rough. They've got some. They're giving the young kids some opportunities to play, which is, good. You need to give these guys NHL experience, but it's a rough team. I mean, they've lost 17 of the last 18. Heading into this one tonight, they're about to drop the puck pretty soon here against Vancouver in a couple minutes. It's rough, but I mean, these are the growing pains. They knew what they were getting themselves into after the trade deadline when they moved Yandel, they moved Antoine Vermette, they moved Zbigniew Mahalik. Time to give the young kids an opportunity to play, and it's frustrating because you're losing, but it happens.
Dave Pagnotta joining us here on the program. It's Game Points with Matthew Ross, Mo Khan here as well. We're talking some NHL news and notes here. So in terms of that franchise, Dave, out there, I mean, we know it's on the block again. It's just, a never-ending story. Your take, Dave. Should they still be in Phoenix in a couple of years?
I think so. I heard... this is the first time I've been to Phoenix. I've been to Arizona. I got here on Thursday. It's my third game today. I got an opportunity to explore the area down from Phoenix to Scottsdale to Peoria to here in Glendale. It's a cool area. There's a lot to do out here, and especially near the arena. I'm looking outside to the University of Phoenix Stadium, which is where the Cardinals play. There's a bunch of ballparks around nearby, and if you're trying to get down here for a road trip, especially around spring training, this is it's a dream to come down here. You got amazing weather. You've got a bunch of sports bars and restaurants all around the arenas and the stadiums here, which are all next to each other, and it's a market that's building in terms of just where the arena is actually situated. They're doing some good things in market. They're creating new partnerships. I think they'll do well. It's just going to be rough these next few years because they're going to be bad, because they've got to go through this rebuilding process. And yeah, they've got Duclair and they've got Domi, and they'll get a top, 5 pick, if not first or second overall at this stage if they keep it going like this. The future is bright for this organization on the ice, but they've got to be able to sustain the next 2-3 seasons here in order to stay here once they start getting good. And just to quickly point out, with Las Vegas being pretty much a lock, you want to have this easy to get to kind of rivalry type thing that is going to take a long time to build, but you're within a 4 or 5 hour drive to another NHL market. Not too bad.
Yeah, Quebec City, Las Vegas doesn't really scream rivalry. There's no question about that. Chatting with Dave Pagnotta here on Game Points with Matthew Ross, Mo Khan here as well. You mentioned Las Vegas. You mentioned them being a lock. Talk to me about that, Dave. What's your timeline? What's the number of teams look like? What's your take?
Well, they're going to announce, by all accounts and all indications, they're going to announce the Las Vegas franchise this summer, by the sounds of things. They'll have, the NHL awards are in Vegas every year. It's June 23rd. Obviously, a great opportunity to unveil the fact that the Board of Governors has met and approved the expansion process for a Las Vegas franchise. It's going to happen. They're close to 10,000. They're just under it right now in terms of their season ticket deposits. They'll surpass that mark.
But hold on a second, Dave. That figure itself, the 10, not even at 10,000 yet, is that not a little concerning?
No, I mean, look, the NHL and Foley and his group understand the marketplace. And these are tickets that are purchased by fans, individual fans. This is not including the casinos. This is not including the corporations that are trying to gobble up some of these tickets to give to clients and comp people and all that fun stuff. This is just straight fans. So if you're selling 10,000 season tickets in some capacity, plus, say, another 5,000 to the casinos, at least you're generating that type of money and that type of revenue, and then you're going to get the rest of the arena filled up with the out-of-towners. So that's how the NHL kind of evaluated this process from the get-go, and that's also how Foley and Hockey Vision Las Vegas has gone into this as well. It's going to happen, guys. I mean, they're going to announce it this summer. They'll have an expansion draft next summer before the NHL draft, usually how it goes. And they'll go from there, and the Las Vegas whatevers will kick off the 2016-17 season.
So we're talking about 31 teams then, Dave, not 32 here. Dave Pagnota, by the way, joining us here on Game Points with Matthew Ross on TSN 690.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get to 32. The NHL will have 32 teams in a few seasons. They're really pushing hard for Seattle. They really want Seattle. They know Quebec City is a lock, but they're also utilizing Quebec City as a bit of a backup plan because, A, they know it's a lock, and they know it's going to work, and they know they're going to get the money, but they want to see about expanding to the West for obvious reasons, to have a little more balance out there where you've got, if they go to 33 teams in 5 years, so be it. I don't think the NHL cares that much, and it's an extra $500 million out of Quebec City that you're going to get in an expansion fee. So they're not stupid. They're not going to say no, but they're also being cautious because, God forbid, something happens here in Phoenix, and they are forced to move this team. I mean, with all the effort the NHL's put in, that's the last thing they want, but you never know. What if Florida, their owners say, you know what, forget this. This just isn't working. We're done. And I don't anticipate that happening anytime soon, especially. But again, this is their safety net, knowing that they've got a city that can accommodate an NHL team yesterday. So Vegas is in, and now it's let's see if we can make and how we can make Seattle work, and then we'll go from there.
Dave, Mo Khan here. Just to further elaborate on the Vegas situation here, we know Florida during the Christmas holidays asked for Montreal and Toronto to come down there. Will they specifically ask for certain teams to come during certain periods of the year to increase fan attendance, and also will they try to avoid boxing weekends, like say a Mayweather Pacquiao fight that might occur at the same time as a hockey game?
Yeah, I think it's going to play a factor. I think the Western Canadian clubs, the Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton. It's big here in Phoenix. They're doing stuff here in Los Angeles. Travel Alberta is a big sponsor of the Kings, and they're trying to, push to get their fans and in a partnership with the franchise to get fans out there. Excuse me. So we'll probably see that. I mean, it makes sense, and you're going to have an opportunity to do it in multiple different markets. You've got a bunch of Canadians that live in Vegas, but you've got a bunch of other people from New York and other areas on the East Coast that are out there as well. So you've got an opportunity to be creative in your marketing. But I think that's something that will develop over time. I don't think they'll go full force right off the bat.
Dave Pagnota joining us here on the program, Game Points with Matthew Ross. Dave, you mentioned briefly Florida. I was at a Panthers Lightning game a couple of weeks ago, and you would think Panthers, Lightning, interstate, Florida up-and-coming team. At the time, they were pretty close to Boston in the standings, although still not that far off. How in the I got there, I took a picture, kind of, people were commenting, making fun of it. Basically, behind the benches even, just empty, just absolutely empty. Sunday, a 5 o'clock game. No scalpers whatsoever outside, Dave. We actually showed up to try and purchase tickets outside, and we ended up going to the box office. So how in the world is this franchise viable? There's absolutely no indication anywhere outside the little bubble that is Sunrise that there is a Florida Panthers team in Florida. I mean, do they just have a phenomenal TV deal? I mean, what's the case here?
They've got a phenomenal owner now, to be honest with you, and it's a guy who's got a crap load of deep pockets. He's spewing out cash, and because of it, it's allowed him to kind of move it in a slower pace than most other markets would that have new ownership coming in. The Florida Panthers, they've got a very good young core, and they've got some really good young prospects in the system. They're going to be really good. Now, Miami is one of the most unique sporting markets in North America. And we've talked about this before. That whole area, I know they're in Fort Lauderdale, Sunrise, but that whole area is a what have you done for me lately market. If you're winning, I'll come. If you're losing, I don't give a crap about you. I don't care if you're the Panthers, the Marlins, the Heat, the Dolphins. If you're not winning, then I don't need to be bothered. And that's been taken into account for all of those franchises, moving forward with their respective ownership groups. The Panthers are being pretty patient, but obviously, if they don't start turning things around and don't start competing for a playoff spot, it's gonna start to weigh in. I heard 17,000 at the game last night, which you're getting down to the wire here, so it's good to see some crowds coming there wherever they came from. But you need to have that consistency throughout the regular season. And if the team is in a playoff position, if they're battling, and if they've got good young talent that they need to market, then they can move forward. They're going to revamp and have been revamping their marketing strategy for next season. They've got the draft this summer, and that's going to be a big push for them to, try to create some kind of awareness for out of town and in market fans. Plus, revenue sharing kind of helps every now and again.
It certainly does. So the Fourth Period is the Twitter handle. TheFourthPeriod.com is the website. Dave, enjoy the rest of your trip. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.